this side of it, there's 4 guys with bushes on them. I want you to kill them. Okay, I'm going to put tracers right here.
A lot of people have no sense at all that they have a dark side. They wish they lived in a world where these emotions and lusts don't exist. They're just denying. When they don't understand that war is, it's like weather. It's like a natural disaster. It's virtually unstoppable. They don't mind coming in as a voyeur from time to time. It's a dangerous exploration. However it turns out, you're going to be different. It's going to change you. The fact that one experiences so much beauty and so much pleasure in a situation that's commonly thought of as being, unrelievedly horrible and ghastly, that's a problem for the Western mind to deal with. That was a problem. If war were hell, and only hell, and there were no other colors in the palette, if that was the essence of the experience, and all that there was to the experience, I don't think people would continue to make war.
They got tunnel complexes all under the ground over there, miles and miles of them. And the Gooks stay in there, they hide their weapons, they have their hospitals, and we'd go and explore all these and find as many Gooks as we could and destroy them. Then we'd destroy the tunnels. When we'd come to a tunnel, there'd be 3 guys outside, I'd go in. The first thing you watch for was Gooks down at the bottom. There was a step off, and then it usually opened up into a small room. Well, that's usually where you found most of your booby traps, your punji sticks, spiders, rats, scorpions, And there's such a small area to move around in, and they're dark. They're pitch black, just damn near just pitch black. It was almost like being a blind person. And you went by touch and smell and hearing. You think people seen big rats. These were like dogs. I mean, they were big. They used them a lot of time in that first section of the tunnel going in. Because usually an American would back out if he seen 6 or 8 of them. They'd come up to you, and a lot of them would even rub your body, crawl over you. But I had never had none bite me. I'd usually crawl on past them. Of course, they can't order you to be a tunnel rat. You got to volunteer. I said, sure, I'm ready for it. I said, let me pick my weapon. There was very few people that would do it. You could touch things and feel and tell what it was. Sometimes guys touched the wrong things. I'm not going to say I wasn't scared. There was a little place in the back of my head for that, but you had to get rid of that or you get claustrophobic. Fear can be a bad emotion. It can shake you up so bad that you can't function. So that's why I always tried to keep that adrenaline ready. When I knew I was possibly, or 9 chances out of 10, going to get a kill, that adrenaline was flowing so high that nothing else mattered but that kill.
So what would happen if you would encounter an enemy?
Well, it'd be either him or me. If you encountered him first, you shot him, and vice versa. A lot of them would hesitate. I don't know why they'd hesitate. I don't know if it was because of total surprise. I had one get the drop on me, but I shot him and killed him. You could smell the goop. You could smell them. They smelled like, imagine sweat and spices mixed together, a lot of spices, real spicy. They just had an odor to them.
The extremely dangerous secrets that guys had told me because they wanted me to tell them. It's their voices, it's their amazing eloquence. My book is full of them. You know, that's really what my book is. You know, these guys who were like semi-literate kids from a really unfavorable social background who just had such a dignity. I couldn't help but find that really moving and really persuasive, and not just in the writing of the book, but in helping me process this nightmare I'd experienced. You know, there were a few times where I was just so overcome with a disgust and horror. And that was something I didn't ever want to see again. Because I'm a nice middle-class Jewish boy. I'm not John Wayne Jr. You know, I'm not a blood and guts guy. I just had a very strong attraction to war.
And was it satisfying?
Yes. Yes, I was satisfied. That was something I felt I didn't have to do again. I saw it for a year, and that was really enough. Probably too much. If I'd been at all smart, I probably would have left after the first operation. I know reporters who did.
Why didn't you leave?
Because I was into it. I was into it. I was all caught up, in the trip. I believed in it. I didn't believe in the war, but I believed in my being there to see this war. And it was interesting. It was not boring. One is never bored. I had really the same dumb fantasy that most of those kids going over had. I passionately wanted to see a war for complicated reasons of my own. I was drawn to it by, very violent and adolescent emotions. People tell themselves all kinds of things, to explain why they do what they do. Very few people do these things without what they believe is a good reason. Because you would see guys would come up and you'd say, why are you here? And they'd say, well, I'm here to kill gooks. And they knew why they were there, and they weren't kidding themselves. And they liked it. They got into it, and they liked it. It's very frightening. My story was I went to write a book. So virtually this whole phenomena that I saw there, in my mind, was just material. And that was my way of making it less real. We recognize something when we see these photographs. We're very attracted to it, and of course we're repelled by it. We don't understand, these feelings we're having about it. There's some connection that everybody feels to these photographs. And I think even a kid knows that, because it's obscene. It's a terrible intrusion. It's the ultimate blood sport, and it would be not useful to pretend to anyone that it isn't exciting, that it doesn't really turn people on. Always has done, and it always will. It can't be an accident that the bloodiest century in history was also the century of, the movie camera. I've heard for years and years and years the sort of pathetic claim of television journalists that because they were there all the time and it was on the news every night, that they were responsible for shortening the war in Vietnam, when my feeling is that they actually were instrumental in prolonging it.
See, what happened is with the bullet, I didn't know when I took that picture. I mean, I know when I took it, but I didn't know what I had. And when I took it, like when he raised the gun to shoot him in the head, I didn't know he was going to do that. I thought he was going to threaten him with his pistol. I seen him reaching for his pistol. As he reached for his pistol, I just brought my camera up with his pistol and took the picture as quick as he brought it up. Well, it turned out that's when he pulled the trigger. I didn't know he was going to pull the trigger. I didn't know what happened. I didn't know when the picture was taken. From the time the picture was taken, the bullet was still in his head.
Curiosity. I'm very curious. I wanted to see for myself. That's one reason I volunteered too. So.
But what were you curious about?
The things that have been put on TV about how guys was killing babies, killing this, killing that.
Now, these documentaries, these movies they make, they really can't tell the bottom line truth.
But how can I not understand it?
Because you were never in war.
It's not hard to understand. It's just that sometimes you talk about Vietnam and people like look at you like, are you crazy? What do you think I'm gonna believe that? Do you think I'm gonna believe that you went through so many situations to survive, to make it back home?
So how did you feel when you shot the
Nothing.
picture with Lama?
Nothing. No, I felt absolutely nothing. It was, when I did the picture, I stopped back at the AP office and I handed him this roll of film. And I said, I think I got somebody killing somebody. And I went out to lunch. It was that simple. People were getting shot. You know, like they do in all wars. And it's expected. If I got killed, I was killed. I've seen so many people die. He was one of many people who were killed that day. And when I took the picture, it was, so what? Anybody there could have taken the picture. I had nothing to do with that. It happened and I was there. A lot of times we would go out on an operation. It was in Bosnia or something. Was it Bosnia? And nobody shoots at you. If they don't shoot at you, I have no pictures. I can't take a still photograph. You guys could have a story with footage, even if nobody shot. That's the story. But me, with one still photograph, what am I going to do? Show a tired soldier? I mean, because nobody... In fact, we used to have a little saying on the early days of the war. If we're lucky, we get ambushed. Because we got ambushed, we have pictures and we have a story. Yet people die in ambushes and get hurt. And later on, as the war progressed, we never joked about that anymore because it got very serious. And these little rich kids went over there and they became, they were adventure seekers. I remember one girl who was a real jet setter, came over there and wanted to cover the war. And so, if you want to cover the war for $10 a story, we'll give you $10 a story, the AP, and they did. It's like...
Is it addictive?
Well, it has to be, but I don't know why. I mean, because I don't know what I want to prove. So it's not a question of proving. Maybe it is a question of proving. I don't know.
But will you do it again?
I'll do it again. I'm sure I will, because I've been thinking about it a lot.
When you go on something called a search and destroy, your mission is destroy everything in the village.
Okay, guys, here's a bomb crater.
Oh,
that's more like it.
Wow.
Holy man. Okay, this is a bomb crater.
Oh, it's an adventure. It's terror because you don't know what lies ahead.
So therefore, you have to be alert, be awake and be alert. You have to be able to learn to distinguish which is which. And you can only do that with time in country. Sometimes you might even hit Charlie, crawling through the bamboos. Scary.
One does not have to learn how to survive in the jungle. Those things is already there. Well, when you're in combat and you're in the jungle, then those instincts come back. They've always been there. The sense of smell, okay, comes back. The hearing comes back. Seems like, sight becomes much more acute. A sixth sense comes in, like, I cannot see a person over in that direction, but I know that there's a person over there. All of these things just come back.
I see these images at the corner of my eye, my peripheral vision. I see this dark shadow zoom by. And you hear all kinds of noises.
Screaming.
Landmines, ambushes, losing bodies. Never see the enemy. Fear to kill, okay. The thing for lust, okay, because you become highly sexed. Okay, everything is full throttle. Where the adrenaline, okay, becomes a way of life, and it cannot go back to normal again. And so living on the edge. They didn't exactly see the enemy, but they saw a lot of Vietnamese, and they had the order. The order it was their order. Waste them all, and most of them did.
And that's all our battalion officer hollered about was body count. Get in the tunnels, get them. Get body count on land. It was constant. And it kept you driving on.
You don't stop.
Getting body count in a tunnel was more than getting one on land. You really done something if you got body count in a tunnel. And I got to do what I wanted to. I didn't have to answer to nobody. Blow the guy's brains out. He'd be happy. We got body count. We started getting a lot of body count.
And so it's like a mind thing. It plays tricks on you. Your mind plays tricks.
When you ever been real nervous to where you felt like you was going to lose your mind, the stuff they pounded into your head constant.
Probably the doctor, they don't like it.
Legs blown off, balls blown off, blinded, friends killed. And never see the enemy.
Kids, women's children, the innocent, the guilty. Everyone goes in wars.
We need body count. We need body count, more body count.
Guys love to kill. Guys love to kill. And actually, you don't have to find a war for the people who love to kill, or
really,
some people just hate.
Go out and kill.
And be able to do it.
You have an automatic weapon. It's something about when you pull the trigger. It's a good feeling in your hand. I mean, when you get behind a 60, like the guy was in the chopper, the guy was telling me, you don't have to do a short burst and then stop.
The one I was in America was called the Baby Killer.
Just fire all you want because the air.
Because we killed kids.
And it's a certain feeling.
It was easy to pull the trigger. It was just another trigger out there.
I guess your brain becomes psyched up too.
It was the enemy. They had to be killed.
Sometimes it becomes necessary to kill kids that's 6 or 7 years old. We had.
You didn't think about it. You didn't think, man, I killed a little kid. You didn't think about that.
No one wants to kill kids more or less than like killing a grown-up, you know, but sometimes that's war. It comes necessary. Everyone dies in wars, and you do what you have to do.
But why did you kill the kid?
For the body count.
Now it's just like going through a Disneyland theme park. But I mean, this is quite realistic. In fact, it is real.
I've heard it so many times. Geez, I'm really sorry I missed it. What a drag I missed the war. God, I'd love to have been in the war. You know, I just try to tell them in the nicest way possible to get over it and that they were really very lucky.
So what do they really envy you for?
Who knows? Some fantasy they have, you know. We've all got one. And more than one, you know. Person's only got one fantasy. It's either, you know, it's some kind of demonic obsessive, or very, very fortunate to only have one fantasy to have to try to perform. Difficult to deal with is the upside of a war. I mean, the parts of a war that are very beautiful. You don't ever have to worry where your next adrenaline rush is coming from. You don't have to, you know, live out some kind of phony life and death fantasy. When you're in a real life and death situation, there's a clarity to your life. They've seen it all in the movies. We've all seen it in the movies. There was so many complaints about the beauty of Apocalypse Now, the sort of voluptuous gorgeousness of the way that Francis portrayed war. Because we do tend to regard catastrophes with, you know, this kind of incredible fascination, thrill. You know, because it's so fascinating and thrilling and amusing that we don't perceive it as for what it is, which is suffering. And it's suffering sort of for our amusement. Amusement may be too strong a word, but I think I mean it. It's very complicated. It's very powerful. War is very powerful, very seductive.
night, very quiet. You can hear all kind of things. And then you start hearing here, psychologically. You know, you start hearing those things. And when it gets quiet, that's when it's time to worry. At night, you would hear in the jungles, they would set up speakers. Those are crazy. They use that as a psychological thing, too. And the North Vietnamese making all kind of different sounds. And saying, America, GI, we love you. And you know it's a lot. You know, it's anything to work here. And they tell them, you're going to die tonight. You're going to die tonight. Oh, yeah, you get scared.
That first moment, your first kill, it's strange because it's something you've never done before. But after that, well, with me, it started getting good. The killing started getting good. So, something is wrong here. Something is wrong with this picture.
What was good about it?
It was such a rush. It was like a rush better than any dope thing I got on the street. Something different. It was just a high you couldn't even imagine. So you keep on killing. The 2 years I spent over there, it was all right. It was authorized. Now I'm gonna come back here. You can't do it. But you taught me how. I'm supposed to be penalized for it? I can't forget.
When you see other people and they die, then it's all about you fight to survive, okay? It has nothing to do with esprit de corps. It has nothing to do with stopping communism. It has nothing to do with none of that shit. It has to do with you're fighting to survive. It's an individual's personal experience that governments and militaries don't like to talk about. They will talk about wars, this, that, and another, but what the Marine or individual soldier goes through, those stories are never told, okay? They're too horrific.
So tell me about your first kill.
My first kill? Well, I can't answer that the way that, like you phrased that, okay. It's the first person that I've killed that I take responsibility for, okay, is also one of my traumas, okay, of with this kid that wouldn't stop coming towards the line. It was nothing glorious. It was the baby for 9.5 years, and this kid was about the age of my brother, okay, and that was next to me. And, you know, the thing about the John Wayne type thing of fighting some other people that's shooting at you and that sort of thing. I don't know, maybe some people are into that. Unless you are a sniper, okay. Most times you cannot tell if your bullet has killed the individual or not. There's so many rounds being fired.
You and your buddy arguing about who shot who. I mean, you know, like I said, it got good. The killing got good. No, I got him, man. No, you didn't. I got him. I know.
We used to bet where it hit him at.
So did you make a lot of money?
Yeah, I made some and lost some.
So how would that work? You are there with your buddies. You see a victim somewhere.
We'd go out on what we call OP. It'd be a guy at the radio, guy at the M16, and me with the 14 with a scope. When we go out on OP, we'd go possibly 2 to 3 clicks from our company by ourselves. And then we'd pick us out a pretty good spot. And one day there was 11 goose come across there, and we took them on, got them all down. Trick to it, when they're walking down a dike, you shoot the middle one. Well, you got the guy in the front, turn around and look, and you got the guy in the back, he's like his. But then you shoot the back one. Then you go to the front. Then they're all mixed up. They don't know which way to run. You just pick them off. It's simple.
Is it possible to describe in a book how they felt? Because many veterans